Hi, this is George LeMieux, Chairman of the Board of the Gunster Law Firm, on this week's View from the Top with Pete Antonacci. Pete's the Supervisor of Elections for Broward County, Florida, and has held a number of really important positions in Florida, everything from Deputy Attorney General to Chief of Staff to the Governor to statewide prosecutor to the State Attorney for Palm Beach County. Pete, it's great to see you and have you with us here today.
Thank you for the invitation.
I'm always grateful to you. You know, I've told this story before, but I'll say it out loud for the public. I probably would not have gotten into public service without Pete. When I was asked to be Deputy Attorney General by then newly elected Attorney General Charlie Crist, I called Pete and said, Pete, is this a job worth doing? And you said, it's the best job you'll ever have. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I was slightly wrong, though. It was a pretty good job, but an U.S. Senator.
Well,
there you go.
Fortunately, one thing led to another. So
there you go.
But thank you for all of your public service throughout the years. You have really been the utility infielder who has done so many great jobs in great places for the people of the state. And you could not have found probably a more challenging position than Supervisor of Elections in Broward County, Florida, where you unfortunately have had a history of problems here. So tell us what it was like taking over to be the supervisor here in Broward County.
Well, it was a situation where the staff had been pummeled pretty hard over the outcome of the 2018 election. And when you get pummeled publicly like that, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails, and you need to be uplifted. Fortunately, 3 months after I arrived, we had a local election, a municipal election in Fort Lauderdale, and 500,000 people were eligible to vote. So it gave me a taste of what being accountable for an election is like. And so since then, it's been off to the races, and all in preparation of these next 90 days or so, which is the running of the primary and the general election in 2020.
One of the things that was a challenge in 2018 was getting all the ballots counted. We had recounts and challenges based on different races that were very close. How do you feel now you're equipped to be able to process all of those ballots, both for the primary and for the general election?
On the technical side, we're in very good shape. Our county commission has been forthcoming and generous with capital funds to buy additional machinery. Spent several $1 million on buying new high-speed counters for our vote by mail ballots, and for buying a new mailing machine that was really essential to our operations here for the vote by mail ballots. We didn't know it at the time when we were making these decisions, but the vote by mail need was even greater than we anticipated because of the virus. People are using that option in much greater numbers than we had anticipated. It looks like at least 50% of the vote in the August primary will be vote by mail. It could be much higher.
Yeah, that's an extraordinary. I know every election more and more people vote by mail, and now with COVID, the pandemic, those numbers are going up. So it's great that you got the funding, and great that you have the new machines to be able to do the counting quickly and accurately. Talk to us about Election Day. For those voters who want to show up and vote in person, what's going to be the procedure now with all the things we have to do because of the pandemic?
The same question pertains to early voting, because it's in person. It's either a couple weeks before the election or on Election Day. Same rules generally apply for us. We've taken many of the same steps that our colleagues have taken around the state. So, you know, you're going to be met by poll workers that are masked and gloved, and some have face shields. You're not going to have to touch anything as a voter. We went out and bought many thousands of dollars worth of magic wands, so that we wand your driver's license or your identification, so you can simply hold it, and the poll worker will wand it, and so nothing will be touched. And then you'll be given a pen that's in a plastic sleeve that's clean, and you take the plastic sleeve off, and that's your pen. It says "I voted." It's the equivalent of a "I voted" sticker. One other thing that we've done, which I think is going to be important for voters, just for their peace of mind, we have a janitor at every early voting site today as we speak, and that janitor's responsibility is to keep the common areas clean with the kinds of solvent that you need to protect against COVID. And every time a voter goes into a privacy booth to execute a ballot, the janitor is right behind them cleaning down that privacy booth so that it will be ready for the next person in a sanitary condition. We're also hiring those same janitors for election day, not the same ones. We have 22 early voting sites, and that's relatively easy to get janitors at that many sites. We have 380 locations on election day to accommodate 577 precincts. That's a heap of people to get on one day to do a job like a sanitation sort of job. I think we've got them all covered. It's close for next week. I think we're going to have all of them covered, and I hope that it gives voters a kind of peace of mind.
So when we get to the general election in November, voters who vote on election day, that's what, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is the normal time for that?
Yes.
Do you think there's enough time in the day based upon the amount of people that you think will show up with these extra precautions in place to get everybody processed in that time period?
I hate to go colloquially on you, but I think the election days is going to be a snoozer. I think that's going to be true for August, and I think it will be true for November. There's been a lot of speculation within the people that talk about politics and turnout and that sort of stuff that we're going to have a much greater turnout because of the virus situation. We may, but it will be on the margins, in my estimation. But it's just shaking up the can a little bit. And so the distribution of the voters will be very different. So typically, vote by mail in Broward has been in the high 20s, low 30% of the turnout. I think it'll be double that in November. And so that leaves far fewer voters to spread out over early voting and election day. I don't think we're going to experience lines or any of the other kinds of things that cause voter distemper when they're
right.
in person.
Excellent. So what else? Give us the takeaway, Pete, of what we should be thinking about going into these two important elections. Is it try to vote before election day just to make sure that our vote can get in there and we're not causing an issue? What's a big takeaway for us?
I think it's a matter of taste. Some people, members of the senior class, such as myself, we like to go in person on election day because that's the old time religion, and that's the.
Yeah, I like it too. It's kind of like there's a little action to it, right?
Yeah, and you get to see your neighbors, and that's a good thing. But it's a matter of taste, and I think people are going to do whatever makes them feel comfortable. Subject to this caveat. We human beings procrastinate. And I think as you and I may be able to stipulate, George, lawyers are the worst. How many times have you been in a courtroom where someone says, "Hey, Judge, I need a continuance. I need a continuance." So people procrastinate. I think that's part of the human condition. I think when we came down out of the trees, that was a gene that our monkey ancestors had. Take some procrastination with you. It's terrible to procrastinate with your vote by mail ballot. I can't tell you the number of calls that I have personally fielded over the last week. People just enormously frustrated that their ballot hadn't arrived. And because our system on our webpage, you can track your ballot when it was sent. So many people know that, people who are conversant, IT conversant, they can look on our webpage and they can say, "Oh, my ballot was mailed on July 27th. It's now the 13th of August. Where the heck is my ballot?"
Right.
A lot of frustration. So the sooner the better. You get that ballot in the mail. Once you receive it, it helps to ensure that it will be counted.
That's right. And then if your ballot doesn't get there by election day, that ballot is not counted. So it's really important not to wait to the last week or the week before to vote. You really need to get it in 10 days, right, beforehand, just to be sure.
Oh, for certain. And it's even worse than that under the law. Those pieces of paper that come in after 7 o'clock on election night, they're not even ballots.
Right.
They're the null set. They're nothing.
Right.
They're not open. They're just stored for 22 months and then destroyed. So do what needs to be done if you want your ballot counted, or show up in person.
Well, Pete, thank you so much. Great to be with you on Gunster's View from the Top. We appreciate your public service and look forward to a seamless election with you at the helm.
That's the goal. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Take care.